Hello, everyone. This is Manga Graveyard.
Back at it again with another shonen manga.
Oh boy.
We never get tired of them.
Not yet.
As you might remember, I'm Pascone.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Eddie. But what's
I'm
that?
Phil.
We have a new member.
Oh,
I won't let you introduce me. I decided.
okay, good.
How are you?
Go ahead, Phil. Introduce yourself.
I am Phil. I'm a new guest member, and I was invited to read Gunblaze West today with the boys.
So yeah,
That is correct.
this week we read and we'll be reviewing Gunblaze West. Which, Eddie, why don't you tell us about the author a little bit, and then I can give the blurb.
So, Gunblaze West was made by actually successful at the time mangaka and everyone's favorite babysitter, Nobuhiro Watsuki. After the initial run of his previous manga, Rurouni Kenshin, finished serializing, he went to go work on another manga that he submitted to Shonen Jump fairly out of the blue. And that series that we have here is Gunblaze West.
And so, what Gunblaze West is really about is, to give a quote from the manga itself, "A place to the west, out beyond the west, said to be the closest place on this continent to the setting sun, the promised land talked about by both gunslingers and outlaws alike from long, long ago. Only those who are confident of their abilities are allowed to set foot there, and once every 10 years, the strongest of them all is bestowed the finest gun ever made. The name of this place is Gunblaze West."
Yeah!
It's so cool.
It's fucking dope.
It's silly. It's a silly
It's so
premise.
good. It's so good though. It's so dumb, but I love it.
This takes place in the late 1800s in America, obviously. And why don't we just jump right into chapter 1, Jeremy?
Oh boy, chapter 1's a doozy. It's like
it's
60
long,
something
yeah.
pages. They get a lot laid out. So yeah, like you said, late 1880s, late 1800s. First chapter sets us off in 1875 in Illinois, in a made-up town called Winstontown, which is right on the east-west divide. We're introduced to our main character this time, as opposed to the other two shonens that we have went over, in a scene of action to a degree, where he is a 9-year-old in a 14-year-old's wrestling, arm wrestling contest. And pretty much there's a lot of hype up, but it's revealed that his sight is set on this gun belt, which is some kind of like tool that allows outlaws to pretty much fast reload and carry all their ammo.
It's just a belt to hold your gun.
It's a bandolier,
And
right?
your bullet, and your bullets, though.
Yeah, any bullets. But you know, it's a cool dumb name for something like that. And surprisingly enough, we see the start of the final round between him and this other 14-year-old, but then they just completely leave out the actual result. All we know is that he won.
An hour later.
By the end of it, yes. An hour later. So beyond that, we kind of get some background laid down between Vyu's older sister, who disappears after pretty much the first arc, and the sheriff, and they kind of just set up the background. And in walks this guy who's super hungry. I mean, his stomach is growling, he's wobbling, and he runs off with a bunch of apples. And Vyu, being the reckless child that he is, chases him out of town into some hunter shack that he took refuge in. This guy that he was chasing. He's like, oh, it's just a kid, whatever. And he slips down. Yeah, it's fine. But Vyu just knocks him the hell out and apprehends him. But it turns out he just takes him back to his place to feed him on all the food they have. He introduces himself as Marcus Homer. And earlier, he references to himself as Underdog Marcus.
Marcus
which is
really cool.
Outlaw name. Yeah, he's super cool.
Yeah, I love Marcus.
You can tell that he's got a lot more going on than he lets on, but he's just kind of like a cool, laid back, like, I don't want any trouble type of guy.
I've seen some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now I'm
he's
here.
definitely, yeah, a little ragged, a little bit, scraggly, but, he kind of jokingly hits on Vyu's older sister, just like pretty much everyone else in town does. Her name is Sissy, by the way, but it's Cissy. But Vyu is very adamant about his dreams to meet him out in the West. So instead of, apprehending him, Sissy's like, don't sweat it. I'll pay off the apple vendor. You just make sure you don't get in any trouble again, Marcus. And Vyu's like, yeah, I got to see you out of town so you don't do anything dumb. And he's like, so you're going to go out West, kid. And then Marcus starts to warn him, like, hey, look, it's cool that you, want to do all this, but really, the West is fucking tough. So Vyu runs back home after leaving him to return to the cabin, and these two goons are there, not the owner of the hunting cabin. And we're left in a quick mid-chapter cliffhanger that makes us believe that Marcus has died after getting caught off guard by one of the goons. And it returns the next day with Vyu running up to Marcus's cabin, or at least the one he took over, to duel him as they agreed to do last night. But then this fucking mountain of a man goon walks out of the forest like, hey kid, what the hell is your problem? And then the slimy one comes up, beats him over the head with a surprising amount of blood splatter against the wall of the cabin.
Oh my god. Can we talk about that scene? Because it was ridiculous, right?
Yeah, no, early 2000s Shonen Jump just did not care.
No.
Yeah, this guy slides in with a full-on shadow and uses the barrel of the butt of a rifle to smack him 20 feet into the wall of the cabin.
And this is a 9-year-old, just a reminder.
Yeah, like a 9-year-old, no less.
It was a lot of blood drawn.
But the important part here is that he gets his gun belt taken by these goons. And that's what upsets Vyu the most before he passes out from his injuries. So Sissy is looking around for Vyu. Oh, sorry, Vyu Baines, by the way. It's Bonds, I guess. What did you guys go with?
I thought.
Bonnes? It's Bannes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's Bonds.
Okay.
As far as
Vyu Bonds.
official spelling goes.
Fair enough. So yes,
It's read as Bunzu.
yeah, Bunzu.
Bunzu-san.
Okay. So Vyu Bonds, yes. So they go out looking for him. Oh, sorry. In the middle of looking for Vyu, Sissy runs into Marcus, who is not dead, who was just hiding out in the woods for the rest of the night. But he relays the situation to her, and they both go running off looking for Vyu, where we get a little more exposition about these two goons are part of a gang that's doing some stagecoach robberies in the area from Arkansas, because there's outlaw roundups there that are cracking down on anyone who's mildly suspicious. And they're part of the Ken Brown gang, as we later learn. So when they find Vyu, they're initially worried because he looks like he's slumped, but then he pops right up full of energy, and he's super pissed because they stole his gun belt, and they killed Marcus! And he keeps saying it 4 times over, even though Marcus is standing right there, even saying it to him before he realized it's Marcus standing right there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they killed me, did they? What are you gonna do about it, friend?
I love how Marcus calls him friend.
Oh, it's so good.
It's real good. He's like, I saw they did a number on you, but were you supposed to be strong? And he's like, oh, yeah, he has a kid short circuit. And they want to, Sissy wants to get the sheriff, of course, but he's like, no, I'm going to get my own gun and put it in my gun belt and become a gunslinger and go west, and has a cool kid turn away walk moment. And Marcus then's like, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to help you, so I'm going to let you borrow my life. Use it wisely. And you're like, wait, what? And then it cuts to the goons overlooking the town. And Vyu pops up and claiming he wants his gun belt back with just his little toy pea shooter gun, one of those little suction cup thingies. Marcus is hiding nearby, but the goons catch on, and he goes to draw his weapon, but actually Vyu has his weapon, which is a really cool looking revolver, which is later revealed to be a Colt single action army that has this dope compass on it that we'll learn about what that means later. But in any case, Vyu actually has the gun, and with his first shot that knocks him on his ass, he knocks away the goon's rifle, leaving them weaponless, except for their fists, because the one guy is huge and the other guy is just practiced as a goon. But pretty much they start getting beat up on pretty bad like real bad. And he's like, oh, underdog Marcus. He's like, if one of the goons like, if that nickname fits you. He's like, I'm giving up that name as today. He's like, my male instincts have come afire. And they keep getting beat up. But VU manages a super cool move where he pulls on one of the goons' hat strings and uses it as leverage to swing butt of the revolver into the guy's face, which is a very popular move of his, as we'll see later on.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things, is he takes the gun and just starts beating people.
Bashing
with it.
people.
It's so funny.
And he goes to shoot the other larger, so he beats up the slimy goon with that move, and goes to drop the larger goon with another shot, but his arm's too numb from the beating. So Marcus gets behind them, and they have a cool, like, almost like how when Goku helps Gohan do that Kamehameha with one arm, Marcus gets up and helps him aim the final shot, and they blast off with it together.
Yeah, it's a cool shot.
And
Yeah.
it points to me, and we'll see it more in like the next fight that we see, but I love their way of like kind of like making gunshots not as graphic, quote unquote. Despite there being a lot of blood, the gunshots aren't too graphic. They're almost more like explosions and beams, which is really cool, and it's represented really well stylistically. But any case,
There's no bullet holes either. They're just scuff marks.
just like scuff marks where they got hit. Sissy and the sheriff are rolling up to find them, and it's just the two of them having kind of like a cool like guy-to-guy moment. And he's like, oh, I thought we were dead, but you look real beat up, friend. And they kind of just go back and forth. And he's like, you know what, fine, we'll start our training together tomorrow, and you'll be fine with that spirit, strong enough so you can go west, even beyond a Gunblaze West. And this is where we get the epilogue that we read for the blurb, where Marcus kind of describes what Gunblaze West is.
It's just more
And-
west.
And it's just the most west.
See, the funniest thing is that, like, it says it's the westmost point of the continent, but that would be Alaska.
Yeah.
But
But they don't know that.
Alaska.
No, they don't know that because it's like
And
not even the 1900s.
and also like, and this is a later on thing, but eventually they show where Gunblaze West is, and it's just like near
It's
Seattle.
Washington.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just near
Yeah.
Seattle.
It's
Washington
basically just like, and pretty much the chapter comes to almost a close here after that big grand like wide shot of the black starry night with the sun rising and all of that. Sissy and Sheriff roll up to see the two of them agreeing, okay, friend, let's do it together. And they have like a fist bump, let's become stronger thing. And before the chapter finally closes out, we see a peek at our first villain, which is done really cool. And this is the leader of this Ken Brown gang, and it shows him only in shadow at first, with a K on his hat and a big, long chin, clicking on the gun belt that he got handed to from the goons that escaped. Oh no, sorry, clicking on his own gun belt. The goons haven't escaped at this point yet. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, they
You
gave
find
it to him
out- yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, they gave it to him off screen. So yes, off screen, he's given the gun belt that VU won, and it shows him clicking it on as he decides to stop in the town. And
Yeah,
that is
I
the
got
first
confused
chapter.
at that part. I got confused because I was like, I thought he got the gun belt back when they defeated the first two goons.
right. No, but then they retroactively revealed they handed it off between their
Yeah.
first encounter and coming back for that scouting. So with all of that, that's finally chapter 1.
Yeah.
So
Impression.
one thing I would like to say, and I feel like this is a big difference between this and all of the other manga we've read so far, is that maybe it's because he's been serialized before, so this isn't like his first go around.
Yeah.
Unlike even let's say the last mangaka who had another canceled series before this one, is the line work and the artwork is done really well and really consistently.
Oh yeah, the art was super fucking impressive, even for a more comical style.
It reminded me a lot of One Piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does.
Except
it really does.
like after like a few chapters, this One Piece style completely, like the style of the manga changes completely. But in these first few chapters, it like looks exactly like One Piece, which I guess
There's a
makes,
lot of
it makes sense
Oh,
because
yeah.
he mentored the One Piece guy. But
Yeah.
Oda.
And
There's a lot of character diversity,
Oh, yeah.
like in terms of like design and like facial appearance. You were gonna say something, Phil? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I thought you still had something to say. I was just gonna say like, it's funny that you compared it to One Piece because even in this manga, food is kind of have like that important role. Because I don't know, because I've watched a lot of One Piece and like food is always like the big thing, and they always eat in that same like manner, like that
just
trope of like
cramming
eating like
things down
wildly.
Oh, yeah,
like, shoving
right.
it.
down your gullet.
Where he
Yeah.
brings Marcus back to his house and they're fucking just going to town.
Yeah, they're just chewing it down, and like he doesn't. Oh, he's like,
I
oh,
think
now,
that was
now
a-
that I've eaten, I'm a character now.
I think that was a big thing with older manga
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Food.
as a trope.
Cause
Oh,
Luffy
and
does it a
also-
lot. Goku does it a lot.
Even in Full
Oh,
Metal
yeah,
Alchemist,
Yeah.
Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
We can't forget that Sissy breaks down into wingdings.
Wingdings? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
When she first gets spooked by Marcus showing up in her Marcus in her house, she's
yelling in symbols.
panicked and literally yells in symbols.
It's
Like the
really
at
funny.
symbol, all the 4 suits of cards, a star, like just what?
Hey, you ever just talking wingdings?
Yeah.
It's weird. So, going back on the art style, one thing I'll say, and I know this is going to be a very weird comment because it's in black and white, but it's a very colorful manga, if that makes sense.
No, explain.
Like the way that you get from like big open shots, you can picture everything being bright and vibrant and like full of color.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
like
can
the
I can imagine.
sunsets.
Like the
Yeah.
sunsets, the forest
town.
with the hunter. Later on when they're in like the desert at in the third arc.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
a
I see
lot-
what you mean.
Yeah, like the color palette would definitely be very bright and almost like cartoonish.
Which the manga I feel gets through very well.
I can see that. Yeah, the art style gives off a sense of color that, even though it isn't there, you could still like catch.
Yeah.
You can like imagine really well. I won't lie. Even like this, I don't know what it was, but like initially, I didn't really like the first chapter as much as I did until I like looked back at it. Like with my initial read, I'm like kind of slow burn, but it wasn't bad necessarily. But then like when I went back and looked at it again, I'm like, wow, this first chapter kicks ass.
Yeah, it's good character development.
It's definitely it's a good thing that it had this whole long chapter to figure out what kind of humor it wanted to go for, because it tried a few different types, and then it stuck with one that worked for the rest of the series, in my opinion, which is kind of like natural situational humor to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think they do a really, really good job of setting up the setting and like things that all like the MacGuffins and all of that like are done really well, because it doesn't feel like shoehorned exposition. It feels really natural.
It was quick too. It was to the point.
Yeah,
You got
Gunblaze West is a dope place.
yeah, it's a still place. There's a lot of bandits. The whole point of it's the gunfighting. View wants to be strong, so he has to go west to where the strong people are. He meets Marcus. Marcus is just a ragtag dude who was doing the same thing, but ended up in a town being starving. He finds you, and he takes a liking to him, and View takes a liking to Marcus, and Marcus tries to be his mentor, and it takes off from there, and it's a good start. And you want to follow the plot because you want to see View grow as a character, because you already you start liking him because he's so energetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he kind of whips you up in his energy and is very headstrong, and you want to see him because you just want to see how strong he'll get too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I
Luffy.
like the Marcus View dynamic. Really drew me in.
One of my favorite things in the first arc is when they're running.
Is it the pee and
And-
poo?
Yes, it's the pee and poo.
God dang it!
I wrote
I knew it.
in my chapter 3 notes. I put poop and pee is funny.
God damn.
Poopy pee is funny.
Pee poo poo humor.
Anyway, so since we're talking about later chapters, let's move on to...
let's start getting into
the first chapter kind of starts the whole Ken Brown arc.
Yes, it fades into it.
So in chapter 2, it's more of a... It's kind of like a training. They start their training together, and it's...
Training preparation
episode. Marcus does a funny thing where he convinces View to run instead of shooting guns because he's too poor to buy bullets. So they just kind of run a lot.
Is that why?
Yeah, he's too poor to buy bullets.
I must have missed that part.
And he's also kind of like
funny.
the basic of strength, or stamina, inner strength, and there's just the best
I thought he was teaching him a
running.
lesson.
But then he also drops that, hey, no, I'm also way too poor to buy bullets.
Oh, okay. I must have missed it.
And then in that chapter as well, like Marcus reveals that he has a map to Gunblaze West, but he won't show it to anybody because it's like his only advantage. And then a different person from the Ken Brown game comes to try to rescue the 2 guys that were captured.
By appearing as like a typical saloon customer and asking like, oh, I heard there was some ruckus here. What happened?
Yeah. And needless to say, he does end up rescuing them, but no one gets hurt because View and Marcus kind of like do a little fight, but no one really gets hurt, and the bad guys do get away.
Yeah, View like shows us how dumb and headstrong he is by literally trying to dropkick a man off his horse, which does succeed, even though he takes a hoof in the middle of it.
Hoof, and if this was realistic, his skull would have been like...
Yeah, he would be
like
dead.
that.
Oh yeah, he'd be super fucking dead. Like, he took a hoof straight to the chin.
And then in chapter 3, that's where the kind of a big running montage where Marcus is like... he points out a point at like the... like on the horizon, there's like this big pillar mountain thing, and he's like, hey, we're gonna run to there before the sun sets, and it's like super far away, so it's a hard thing to do. And that's where the pee and poo comes, because they're running, and Marcus is like, no, there's no time to stop to pee, so they're just peeing while they run. And then View also poops while running, and Marcus is like, no, stop for that.
Also, one quick thing I wanted to note towards the end of chapter 2 was the really cool shot of the first full shot we get of Bill without any shadow hiding him, where he's like, you guys are like a bunch of idiots, talking about them failing, getting captured and all that. He's like, I'll add you to my sofa, and it's a bunch of fucking like cops that were sent after him, and he's just sitting on them like a badass. Bill was really cool.
Bill Ken Brown, the leader of the Ken Brown gang.
The leader of the Ken Brown gang. But yeah, after that little cut-in, we get to the running montage that we just mentioned. And it turns out the path they were running on is the western path to the town that the Ken Browns are going to use to attack.
And
while we're here,
like set up, like there's the militia of the town is there protecting because they know Ken Brown's going to attack, and they suspect it's from that area
because that's where they came from.
Yes.
And of course, once our 2 main characters at the time run up to be like, oh hey, here's everybody from the town, that's when the Ken Browns roll in for an attack.
So Ken Brown is a really cool guy.
Oh yeah.
When
Bill
he runs
Ken Brown,
in,
William Ken Brown.
Yeah, when he runs in on the little militia, he's like, they're just a bunch of amateurs. I don't even need to use my gun. So he runs in by himself, throws a Molotov in between them to start a fire, and then throws some bullets into the Molotov fire, and they all just shoot out in every direction.
And the reason he was able to get this to work so easily is they completely emptied all of their ammo seeing him come down the bridge, only to find out that the smokescreen they made from all the shooting reveals him raising up from behind his horse, which he used as a shield.
And that's how you know he's a villain.
And also, to get his bullets to throw into the Molotov, he throws his ammo bag into the air, catches the bullets, and then throws them into the fire.
It's really cool.
He's really cool.
So Ken Brown deals a shit ton of damage to everybody and like
His AoE attack.
yeah.
And like a single, pretty much in one swift move.
Yeah, I don't think anyone dies. They just kind of like got bullets in
Yeah,
their
they're all
shoulders and stuff.
incapacitated.
So Marcus rolls up and challenges Ken Brown to a duel. And I think View wants to help, but Marcus is like, no, I gotta get stronger or something like that.
He's like, no, this time is like actually serious, and when you absolutely have to fight absolutely. He's like, that's right, I did say that, and this is why I'm doing it myself. So yeah, challenges into a one-on-one duel, and it sets up pretty cool with a coin flip, really good coin flip shot. That's like displayed really well through manga.
Mm-hmm.
With a really cool inverted panel when the coin hits the bridge. And if you pay attention, you can see the silhouettes.
Well, what happens is they were supposed to fire when the coin hit the floor, but Ken Brown, being an evil man, just shoots him before it hits the floor. Because
by throwing a knife into his hand.
Oh yeah, he threw a knife into his hand and then fucking...
He's like, hey, you think you want to straighten out a stool? I'm a fucking outlaw. And that's when he pulls the gun, and the shot actually only manages to graze him at first. Marcus says as much, hey, that was close, but then Bill spins around and puts 2 more shots into him that make Marcus drop.
Like off the bridge.
Yeah, like before he like completely drops, he tosses his gun to View. He's like, as a token of my apology, I'm giving that to you. A gun, you wanted one, right? And he's like, one of the greatest shots in this chapter, or pretty much really one of the greatest shots in the manga, is Marcus here, all bloodied up with the scuff marks and everything, putting his thumb towards the sunset. He's like, okay, friend, you must follow that sunset and set our place for where we dreamed. And that's when he gets the final shot, and he falls off the bridge into the rushing water.
They kill fucking Marcus.
Seemingly killing Marcus, yeah.
They just outright kill him.
And that made me very sad.
We should mention the bridge is over a river. I don't know if
Like a fast-ass running river.
That dude
like
got
a
shot in
rapid.
the heart, bro.
Yeah.
This isn't Metal Gear Solid 3. He's not going to just wash up on shore later and patch himself up.
Yeah, this first arc was really emotional.
Yeah,
which I think got me really into it.
Oh yeah, this first arc is really good, and I did not expect Marcus to die. I thought it was going to be a fun manga with Marcus and, little baby View to, like, go on adventures.
Companions.
But then they kill Marcus, and I got sad.
And don't forget, though, after getting the gun, View also requests a one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
And
which was pretty epic.
By surprise, View manages to take the victory. Because, again, Bill is not really taking him that seriously, but when View starts running at him with the gun raised, he's like, fine, if you really don't, want to stop this, I'll go ahead and make you join that underdog. And View gets off a shot that clips Bill in the shoulder, making him drop his gun and make his hat fall off. But View was also clipped in the shoulder, but through the power of Kid Shonen power, before Bill can do anything else, View's still holding his gun, and he empties that thing into him.
He shoots all of his limbs.
Yeah.
He gets shot in the shoulder twice, in the stomach, all of his limbs, and then he jumps on him and starts beating him up.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, yo,
with the butt of the gun.
View, stop, you got him, it's over. And that's when he has like an emotional run where he gets kind of like a flashback of all the things Marcus has told him.
He also finds the map that Marcus was talking about in the butt of the gun.
Yeah, he drops it at the end of the run. Oh no, he drops it after beating Bill and discovers it. So it kind of fades into like a little mini training montage where it's like on the next day, View began his training alone. Days and months go by and seasons pass and her story moves to 5 years later. And that's when
5-year skip.
another one of the greatest shots in the fucking manga happened really early. But it shows a bunch of like little landscape like snippets, but then we see VU standing on that rock that they pointed out to earlier in front of the rising sun. And like VU Baines at 14 years old completes his training. And then we get to see a really cool shot of him like, you know, clenching his gloves and then doing the fist thing, and he's like, and it shows like the first shot we see of him as a like adult, or as adult as he'll be in the series. And it's cool because it preserves a lot of his kid look, but he looks like reasonably older too.
Well, he is 14 still. Like, he's still like a kid.
But like, it's funny because it's like seeing him go directly from like a background kid story into shonen protagonist. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shonen.
That like little thing when he was running to the peak was very emotional.
It was very
and then
sad.
when it cuts to like him being older, it's like, yeah, I'm down for him.
And so the next arc kind of starts up with, you know, wrapping him up and sending him off, like the town sending him off, you know, like, hey, you're awesome, like, you know, go do cool things, come back soon. And that's the last we see of that town.
And
just
this
like
starts
in One Piece when Luffy
the
left.
second arc.
Yeah.
Which we get a really cool map too, showing his progress from Winstontown to St. Louis, which is the first major town he steps foot in.
And it's the gateway to the west.
This next arc starts off real quick, but not in like a rushed way, but it's like it doesn't waste time, which is a good thing, I think. It's not like a rush sense of just like no sense of direction. It's just there's not a lot of like downtime, unnecessary filler moments.
So, with View by himself heading into St. Louis, he gets really hungry because he's an idiot. He just kind of runs everywhere.
That's all his training. He just ran.
Yeah, no training.
Yep, he just ran.
So he just keeps running.
Yeah. So he's so fast.
So he goes to this, he goes like down Main Street or something, and he sees these two saloons right across from each other. And he's about to go into one when this girl walks up to him. He's like, "What, are you going in that saloon? Nah, don't go there. The food's bad. Come to this one. The food's good in this one." And she brings him into this really shabby looking saloon with this old guy, and he's just like, "Go away, kid, you're gonna get harassed if you eat in my saloon."
Yes, because it turns out the saloon across the street is owned by your typical snooty rich dude, and he doesn't like the saloon across the street, so he pays outlaws to pretty much scare off all the customers.
Yeah.
And of course, since they're the little shabbier place, they have more heart, and thus their food is better.
Yeah, View tricks the old man into making food for him by being like, "Well, your food probably sucks anyway. That's why you're not confident in it."
Yeah. Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yes.
So one of the outlaws that this rich guy hires makes his way into the saloon.
Target Kevin!
Yeah, Target
Yeah,
Kevin.
Target Kevin!
Oh my god. He looks like Brian Fury, dude!
Yeah, he does!
He looks like Brian Fury from Tekken.
Yeah, he probably laughs like him too.
Yeah, he's this dude with like kind of like short buzzed hair, and he wears a duster over a no shirt, and he has a target painted over his heart.
And his eyes look like venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Target Kevin walks in and essentially picks a fight with View for like eating at the saloon. And then as they're in the middle of this fight, and View picks up a table to block a shotgun blast from Target Kevin with his foot.
Because he's ran so much. He's strong legs.
I know, he's got strong legs, and he like picks up a table with his foot and he just blocks the shot. And then out of nowhere, these lassos come up and tie the both of them, and we meet our secondary protagonist, or second character, I guess.
Yeah, he's more of a second character.
Yeah, he's like,
he stops doing stuff after this arc.
Yeah.
he really does.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, not again until like the very last arc where he wins like a fight.
Yeah, and even then we
mostly
don't get
off
to
screen.
see it.
We
Yeah, we
only
don't
see,
get to
like,
see
one
what
part of
happened.
But he's introduced really cool.
Yeah.
Bouncer Will Johnson.
Yeah, so we meet
rope
Will
man,
Johnson, who is one of the other characters on the box art.
And big brother to the girl who ushered Viu into the saloon, whose name is Carol, by the way.
So,
And the important thing here is in his establishing shot, as he's walking into the room holding onto the lassos he has around Viu
and a
and
book.
to target Kevin, with his book in the other hand, we see that he has a compass hanging off his belt with the Gunblaze West symbol on it. Well, we find out later that's what the name means, but right now Viu's like, wait, that's the symbol that's on my handgun. He throws them both outside with a single flick of the wrist.
Let's look at the risk. Ooh.
Yeah, look at that, it. Yeets them both out the window. And the fight kind of ends out there after after, what is it?
The rich guy comes and he's like, "Hey, don't do stuff in public."
Yeah,
That was the sheriff.
no, the rich guy who owns the Belladonna, which is the rich snooty tavern, calls a stop to the fight after Will Johnson has a really fucking cool shot of dodging the second shotgun blast, where he's doing like a Strider Kiryu pose with his lasso and like super Spider-Man leans.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And he's like, and then Kevin's like, "Oh, you think those two shots are all I have?" And then Viu knocks his next shot off target by shooting a barrel into his way. But that's when the Belladonna owner rolls up. He's like, "Hey, you think I can grease the sheriff palms of you doing something in public? Stop it." And with the fight stopped, Will was like, "Hey, you're a dumb kid." He's like, "Oh yeah, am I a dumb kid?" And then he shows him the Gunblaze West symbol on his pistol. And that's how he gets to go back to their like grass home.
Yeah, so they have a parlay about the Gunblaze West symbol, about how Will's dad was researching it and essentially went up to go find it and never came back. So him and his sister just kind of like live in poverty in this grass shack. But Will really, really wants to go out and find Gunblaze West.
Because
but
he was kind of
can't.
like Viu as a kid, but he hardened because of the whole situation with his dad and the debt.
Yeah, so he decides to stay in town with his sister.
But
And
it
then-
shows he's been studying all 10 years.
Yeah. And while they're doing this, Target Kevin comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in a
Wait,
real
real quick.
in a real Brian Fury move.
Yes. The compass that has the Gunblaze West mark on it that Will has is actually a special compass where the real needle, when it is pointing north, will cause the dummy needle on this compass to point west, which is
And
really
it's so
stupid and awesome.
Stupid.
It's a double compass because it's at a 90-degree angle. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but it also
like-
reveals that the compass has a part of this map
That fits together
in
with
it well.
with View's map.
that fits
Yeah.
together with the map in Marcus's gun. But
And
yeah,
Which is very
shows
convenient for
absolutely
some
nothing because it shows like the eastern part of the country.
it shows like the
So it's
very northwest
completely
and the very
worthless.
northeast. So yes, it is quite worthless as it is. But yes, Target Kevin returns with a venom smile with like saliva from his shark teeth and everything.
And throws a Molotov into the grass house.
No,
And-
he throws an oil barrel and
that's right.
blows it up with a shotgun, and it
That's
sets
right.
the roof
It
on
was a
fire.
big dumb oil barrel. I forgot.
And basically,
And-
what happens is like they
Yeah.
obviously they get out of the place safely because and Target Kevin leaves to go to the Belladonna to like wait for them to fight. And View's like, "Hey, we gotta go beat him up and stuff." And
It was like, no.
Will doesn't want to because it's like that's just gonna cause more trouble on his family and everything.
I want to protect, not attack.
Yeah. So View goes alone.
And then they play the target
Yeah,
game.
deadly
Yes.
targets.
He's like, if you want to fight my boy Kevin, you're gonna play by our rules. So the idea is that they each paint a target on themselves, and the duelers will decide. The two duelers will decide a part of their body to be the target. Both will aim for that area when they shoot. The first to hit the target wins. However, In the event a dueler hits a part of the opponent's body other than the target, that person immediately becomes the loser. As a penalty, the loser will become the target for our guests who are anxiously waiting upstairs, and it's a bunch of smarmy, smug people sitting in the rafters.
It's like
So-
you have 40 plus people with guns ready to shoot.
And they're all like
Ryu-
shitty people.
Ryu, being the badass that he is, copies target Kevin by painting a circle over his heart, but makes his bigger than Kevin's.
And so View also refuses to actually shoot Kevin, and he just kind of goes in for the melee hit, like always.
Kevin also gets a 12-barrel shotgun.
Oh
all
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
Also, can we also please show this Kevin face? I'll put it in the chat real quick, but
Yeah.
we need to show this Kevin face.
Yeah, that's a-
interesting. Look at that
That
Kevin
fucking face is
He is actually doing Brian Fury's laugh right there.
Yeah. So, he says, like, yeah, I won 13 times straight under these rules. And View actually starts whooping his ass, more or less, by being faster and beating him up with the gun. But when Target Kevin gets sick of that,
He pulls out the 12-barrel shotgun.
yeah,
And then you're like, oh, this is how he's won, like, all of these.
and not only that, it also proves to show that even he shot and clipped View's, like tassels off of his pants, and everyone in the Raptors like, heh, we're the judges here, so keep
Yeah,
fighting.
it's biased. So
It's obviously
the crowd's
biased.
like, yeah.
Because they just wanted to see Kevin pull out his 12-barrel shotgun. That's all they wanted. And when this thing goes off, it fucking blows a hole in the side of the entire saloon. And View pulls a Kakashi by popping up from under the floorboards and dropping a kick straight into Kevin's chin.
You know,
His
isn't that a
vertical
Naruto? Didn't he do that in the tuning exams?
Yeah, when Kakashi comes up out of the ground with a fucking Chidori or lightning blade.
Oh yeah.
So after this sneak
sick.
attack, he puts the barrel of his gun to Kevin's target on his heart. He's like, "Oh, don't think you won because you did that." And View doesn't shoot because he's cool and not an evil guy.
Not a murderer.
Yeah, that's not a murder.
And then Will shows up through the hole in the saloon. You've lost, Kevin. And he has a cool shot of like him in a white silhouette with the sun behind him. And he's like, "If you insist on fighting, then finish it with me. But this time is no mercy." And Kevin's like, "I'll kill you both with pocket shotguns."
Woohoo!
But William
he
then
doesn't.
proceeds to cripple him.
Yeah, he just breaks all his arms and legs.
Yep. Just
Oh,
with
yeah,
lassos.
with an attack we'll never see again called Tendril.
Yeah, he can kind of just control these ropes like tentacles.
This is his special fighting style that he made against gunslingers.
And I'll probably go over this in the like section, but I really love how they work just enough fantasy into this without like making it not a Western, but also
later
to
on
be
it gets
stupid.
very fantasy.
But it still
And-
works in the setting so well.
I would disagree,
And
but we'll
very
get to that.
I don't know. At the
It
end
gets
chapters,
quite
Well,
bad.
We'll go
It's
to
like-
that. We'll get to
But
that
it's
later.
so good. It's so stupid.
Anyway, so after they beat Target Kevin and all the rich guys were like, yeah, woohoo, new champions. View and Will just take like the 4 other 12-barrel shotguns
shotgun.
behind the bar and just destroy the whole building with them.
Which takes care of the Belladonna and pretty ends this arc.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of like that whole arc is when they just blow the building away with like 4
12-barrel
12-barrel
shotguns.
shotguns.
Just boom, 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 just take down the whole thing. Oh, it's great.
Uh,
And yeah, go ahead.
so basically, yeah, so they win and stuff. Cool. And View, like the next day, View's trying to convince Will to come with him to Gunblaze West, and Will's like, he's like, I can't go because we're in so much debt. They're not going to be able to pay for it without me. And then View's just like, oh, here, take all this money. And it's all the money that he got from apprehending Ken Brown, because it was the bounty on his head, and that basically paid for all of Will's, all of his, his debt.
It's enough for his debt to fix the saloon and to help pay Carol and Will's salary, basically.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
a lot of money. Just
so-
gave it away.
With nothing left to tether him down, Will joins the group.
And then we go into the third arc.
The couple to meet the third protagonist, which is the best protagonist.
Which is the Eddie character.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're like walking to the next town, but they haven't drank water in like a day, and they like ran out of water like a day ago, and they're still just walking with like, and they're like they have no food, nothing. So they just
Yeah,
pass
They get
out.
into a really they get into a really dumb argument first
yeah.
about shouldn't we just head straight west? He's like, no, we gotta go south and follow the route on the map. And they get picked up by a circus
After passing out.
after passing out.
After fighting.
Oh yeah, they fight and like
Yeah.
knock each other out.
So as View shoots awake in his wagon.
There's
and
a
proclaims
circus.
he's the winner because he woke up
Yes.
first.
There's like a little circus act going on by the people who picked him up.
And it's really cool.
Basically this girl like jumps up onto like a pole.
Oh yeah.
And
After
then,
Yeah,
cutting
good.
some barrels.
oh yeah.
Phil, go ahead and introduce Best Girl, since this is where we get to
So
see her
Best
first
Girl.
and foremost.
Best girl.
There's only like
Right.
one girl in this whole fucking thing.
It doesn't
No, there
matter.
was
She's
View's
the only one
sister.
that needs to exist. The sister's
She's
done.
really good.
She is good. So it starts off. They have the circus, and she's on. I guess I don't know. You could say the pole's like 30 feet in the air, and she's playing with knives basically. And the whole point of this act is that she throws a knife with high accuracy, precision, at her partner.
There's an apple on his head.
Who has an apple on his head with an X on it. Who the partner is already one of my favorite characters. His
Oh
name
yeah,
is
the
Rodriguez.
ringleader.
The
Rodriguez,
ringleader.
the ringleader.
He's probably the best character, I think, out of the whole thing.
So yeah, she does like a tightrope dance where she plays Fruit Ninja with apples while dancing on a
I
tightrope
think
in
she
the
just
air.
avoids the apples.
Well,
but
no,
that doesn't matter too
she avoids them, but
Oh,
then they
you're
show
right.
that they're sliced.
Yeah, I see the slice. Okay.
So yes, the act ends with her putting a knife through a cross mark on an apple on top of Rodriguez's head. But we, the viewers, get to see that there's a little bit more going on, where Rodriguez's pupils like manifest for a second, and he shifts his head ever so slightly and makes the knife hit perfectly on mark, which is something that VU notices but says nothing about for now.
Yeah, it's like a high scale thing that no regular person should be able to see.
With the stupidest name ever.
Yeah.
It's,
What's the name of
it's
it?
called Concentration 1.
Concentration 1.
Yeah.
Concentration one. So
That
yeah,
means
they
you're
go
one.
they go back out into the woods to sit in their little like circus caravan thing, and they talk. Turns out, Clarice, they introduced her as, what was her name? Colin.
Who? The girl?
Kurisu
Oh, yeah.
Sato.
Cariso Sato.
Yeah,
Carisu Sato.
Khalees Sato, but Clarice Sato, and she's like, oh, she's a samurai from the Far East, like, you know, like
She's one of
circus
them
introduction.
Japanese.
But she's actually a Japanese immigrant who was taken into foster care after her little colony fell apart by Rodriguez.
Yes.
And she jokes by saying, oh, they took me up and trained me and only made me have a slice of bread, and she's just being facetious.
Oh, she's the best. So her whole thing is that she's just an asshole.
She's cocky.
I don't know, I wouldn't say that. She's kind of just like happy-go-lucky almost.
I mean,
She just does whatever
loses,
she wants.
She loses all personality after this arc, so, you know.
What do you mean?
She does just whatever she wants, and that's her whole character. Is whatever.
Yeah, but
And
they're
it's
all like
great.
that.
This is when VU brings up, though, that he saw their little, like, eye connection thing, and Rodriguez is like, oh, that means you also have that
The
talent.
talent. Yeah.
Connection 1, or concentration 1.
They're like, the talent. You have the talent. Like, yeah, I guess he does. All of a sudden.
So
see-
VU, much like he
see-
told Market, oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
This is the part that started to remind me of One Piece.
So VU, much like he told Marcus, is like, yeah, I'm gonna take these marks that we have, and I'm gonna, go out to the west, and he's like, don't do it.
Stop.
And he tells him in
Stop
vague
it.
terms, yeah, don't do it.
Do not do.
He tells him in vague terms, I've seen too many people go that way, and it's loser's wish for those who love evil and violence.
Which is a good way to call it.
Yeah,
I
a
love that
loser's wish.
keeps calling it the loser's wish.
And Vu's like, no, I know a guy who was going there who was a good guy, so I'm gonna be a good guy too and go there. Fine, if you won't agree with me, then I'll fight you. And Rodriguez fucking wipes the floor with him.
Oh,
And also teaches him how to shoot a gun while beating him up.
Yes.
Ultra powerful character. Super
Yeah, he
strong.
literally, like, in the middle of the fight, just holds Vu's body, like, by
In
the
place.
arm. And he's like, your stance is off. Here, do this.
Point the gun down, never up, and View is trying to, break free, but he
I
can't.
can't punch him.
He
Can't
can't.
even do anything.
And
Yeah,
by the
right.
time he finally escapes and gets behind him, Rodriguez
Whack.
uses his concentration 1 and
And meets him with a fist.
wrecks him.
Destroyed.
So it turns out the reason Rodriguez is this powerful is because he used to be an outlaw in the territory of Utah called the Western Phantom, which is the fucking coolest.
His backstory is really good, though.
Yeah.
And this is when we
It's a good
find out
character.
it's also named Concentration 1, even though we've been using the name earlier. But yeah.
Yeah. He also has
so-
he has a thing for kids too. Like he has a thing for innocence. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to soil innocence.
Oh yeah,
he
because,
likes to be a
because of his
fatherly
whole,
figure.
his whole backstory kind of explains that when we eventually will get to it.
We'll get there pretty soon. Because right now the next thing we see is VU doing shooting training, trying to hit an X on a rock. And it's revealed that's when we find out his gun is a single action army, Colt single action army.
I think
And the
it's-
reason...
it's-
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Because he's shooting this X, he's trying to get in the middle. He shoots literally everywhere but the middle. I
But
feel
the
like
middle.
it's so impressive that you can do that. That you can shoot anywhere but the middle.
So they bring it up that he literally sets him up with a target outside this gun's actually actual effective range.
But still, all you had to do
Oh, yeah, no.
is like move it to the left or right a little bit, just see like where you're like aim like there's like a perfect circle of area he cannot shoot in the middle. Just don't
Yeah,
aim
it is
there.
kinda-
Like it's ridiculous.
Well, but like if you aim to the left and it goes off even further left.
I'm just saying there's ways to hit that in the middle if you just tried hard enough. And there's shots of him with tons of just bullets on the floor, and you're telling me
Yes.
it just
I'm
didn't
telling-
accidentally go into the middle.
Yes, because that's how spread works from a gun, passcode.
No, but it makes no sense.
No,
Eddie.
that's how spread works.
No,
It's
it is.
after that is ultimately how it works.
No. Because
Yeah.
you
No.
can, you can force the spread to hit the middle.
Yeah, there's only so much spread
Like-
that actually just completely misses the middle.
Like
The spread can go in 360 degrees. You can't account for it because it literally.
I know you
at
can't-
that effective point.
you can't
don't
account
know
for it, but it's going to
where
hit
it
there
goes.
eventually.
He's saying, no, Eddie, the point he's trying to get is that statistically, it's ridiculous that it hasn't happened by accident.
Look how many fucking bullets are on the floor, and tell me that, like, there's a perfect, it's okay. Yeah, if you tried to aim for the center, you're not going to hit it. I get it.
Exactly.
But-
that's the whole reason why
then,
it never hit.
Then stop
No.
trying to aim for the middle. That's what
But
I'm
he's
saying.
stupid.
No,
You're
no,
right. But he's dumb as a doorstop.
But
Yes.
the point of the scene is so he can learn how to use concentration 1
Yes.
better.
To hit
That's
the
what the
center.
whole point is. But realistically, Pascone's right. It should already hit
Yeah.
the middle. It really should.
Yeah. So by
Realistically,
by
with
manga
someone-
contrivances, he hasn't hit the middle yet, even though realistically he would have hit in the middle quite a few times. With the
With
amount of ammo that he spent.
That's a lot of ammo too. I don't even
Yeah,
think.
it's a fucking stupid amount of
Yeah,
bullets.
it's a lot of bullets. Anyway.
So, back to Rodriguez and Will in the town, and with Rodriguez explaining why he set up the target the way he did. This bandito-looking dude rolls up with a fucking iron shield hat pistol.
Oh yeah, the shield pistol is so stupid.
it's
The
very
umbrella gun.
stupid.
The
And
circle gun.
Rodriguez shows that he still has his Western Phantom moves where he dodges the bullets with his concentration 1.
'Cause he's so good.
Because he knows where the bullets will be.
And during that stop, View finally starts getting closer to the center, but they're interrupted by this guy called... we don't learn his name just yet, but he tells them that it's a 0 year, in which we learn that every 10 years is when a guide shows up to bring people to Gunblaze West. which is that whole part of the strongest, which we learned about, like we hear earlier, how it assembles the strongest people. So it's the 0 years, basically 70, 80, 90. So this year is 1880.
So he's coming back.
And we figure that the person who is interrupting View and Kurisu's shooting training is this guy called Uno, with his brother Dos.
And they have a 1 and a 2
They are great. I wish I saw
tattooed
more
on
of them.
Yeah,
So-
they have two Roman numerals for 1 and 2 tattooed on their cheeks.
It's so dumb.
It's very stupid.
They're
So
brothers. It makes sense. Are they twins? I think they're twins.
Why,
Yeah,
why
they
are
are
their names Uno and Dos though? Why would their father
Because-
do that?
maybe that's their
Because he-
outlaw names.
Because don't you remember he lost his mind and went crazy?
So yeah, Uno's thing is that he has roller spurs.
Rollerblades.
Literally rollerblade
His
spurs.
spurs are pizza cutters.
And Dos literally has Kung Lao's hat from Mortal Kombat. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Has Kung Lao's hat.
And he throws it like Captain America's shield.
But since they got the news that their dad found Rodriguez, they go to find him instead of bothering with the kids. And basically, they threaten Rodriguez into joining them to go for Gunblaze West again, or they'll shoot up his circus. Which pisses off Rodriguez.
Because that's my family. Don't hurt my family.
And this is when we get a better backdrop of what his backstory is, if you want to get into that, Pascone, since
Yeah,
you
sure.
really like the
So-
backstory.
The guy with the umbrella hat shield gun. They were
Guadalajara.
yeah, something like that. He was partners with Rodriguez, and they were going to Gunblaze West. And for some reason, like the map or something for Gunblaze West pointed to this tiny pioneer town. So just a bunch of outlaws raided it and like killed everybody. And while Rodriguez was there beaten up, he like has this dying little girl in his arms, and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe like we did this."
And somehow Guadalajara goes from being like a young guy by the beginning of it to being like this old husk of himself by the end of this battle.
Which I didn't understand.
Yeah, he just aged a lot. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like,
like-
what happened to you? You're old now. It's been 10
Like,
years.
I guess because he went on the brink of death and almost went insane, he suddenly became an old man.
Yes, that's how that works.
It's like
I
it's
figured
like
he was
Tokyo Ghoul.
consumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was consumed by violence
And-
that he just
and old
became
age.
old. Yeah.
So after little girl, her name is Tanya. It's not important, but just because her name gets called out, her father or older brother, probably father,
think dad,
saves
yeah.
her from Rodriguez's arms. Then he gets shot down by 2 of the people who are still alive.
This is a really
And
good shot right
And
here.
Rodriguez is just crying. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm
And-
sorry."
It apparently takes to heart to these 2 people because it shows that they're 2 of the people in his circus act.
Yeah, it's a really
are
good
still there.
like match cut where it's like the 2 people that shot him crying, and then suddenly it switches to the 2 people that are now in the circus with him.
And like, along it, working with him, seeing that he's actually not such a bad guy. But he's like, you know what? No, let's. Khalees wants to go to their hotel and just like drive them away right now. But he's like, no, this is between Guadalajara and me. But of course, sneaking out at night is Khalees setting out on her own to go scare them away, which Viu catches on to. He's like,
So yeah,
shouldn't we leave this to Rodriguez? And she's like, nah.
And he agrees, and they just go.
Yeah, so then
So-
they go to sneak up on them sneaking up on the
Them.
circus.
And they just
Yeah.
run into each other.
Yeah, and then they just have Gouda Reaper
Yeah.
just leaves, and he's like, "My children will take care of you.
We don't need the boy. We only need the girl as a hostage.
This will
and we
work for
start
hostages."
a pretty dang cool fight.
Yeah, they get into a fight with Uno and Dos.
Viu fans the hammer.
My 2
as-
favorite card games.
Yeah.
So I have a complaint about this fight. And I
Okay.
think
What's up?
about maybe not every fight, but I just think it wasn't too easy to follow. This fight especially. I don't know if it was the same for you, but while reading it, I was just like,
So-
wait, oh, he's over there now. Oh, wait, what? Oh, he's
I
he's
do
punching
think
him?
the overall flow from like a actual, like, from a plot like a choreographical standpoint, yes, but like the art was like easy to read, but yes,
Yeah,
like actually following the overall terms of where they are and what's happening was a little cluttered.
Like in this one panel, View is like 10 feet away from him, and then he's punching him, and then it's just, I found it generally hard to follow the fight. Which
is weird because the art is really like clear and readable, but the overall like fight choreography gets a little confused.
And the dude on the rollerblade stuff doesn't help.
Yeah, like it was hard to tell when like Dose comes in and throws his like saw blade thing, and like you see all three of them dodging out of the way for some reason. The fight was a little weird, but I think Dose versus Kalas was really good, but Uno and View were like all over the place.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
At the very least, though, the final move of this conflict is fucking sweet.
Where he uses concentration 1 to see Dose out of the reflection of Uno's eye, and then turns his shot around.
He does a flip while in the air.
So, View's like, I'm only gonna beat you with one shot, that's all I need. And he's like, oh, you kidding me? So, in this moment, Khalees has, quote-unquote, beaten Dose by putting 2 knives in his arms, and she rushes off to help View. And while he goes to rush in with his final shot, Dose lines up behind the two of them and sets up his hat as like a thing to ricochet off of. So Uno can shoot him and shoot Vio and Khalees at the same time. But that's when Vio uses concentration 1 to see the hat shield in his eye. So he flips around and shoots Dose instead.
And then
we're not done, because after that, Vio goes tumbling from the momentum of the gun, and as he comes out of the smoke, he has the gun backwards, and he ejects the shell casing into
silly.
Uno's forehead. And he's like, "Oh, it's hot!" And then he gets hit by the gun and defeated.
Which doesn't make... I don't know how he propelled a casing from the gun to go straight to his forehead. That didn't make any sense.
It did. It was hilarious.
It didn't, but it was dumb cool.
Yeah, so he took like this little thing from like underneath the gun. I think it's like something you use for like if it jams, and he just used
it's
it
a
to
reloader.
He just pushed it through the barrel and just shot the thing out the other end. It's like, what?
Use out of bullets. That was.
And now, even though they're defeated, Guadaripa is still standing, and as they're about to stand off with him, Rodriguez finally shows up in a really cool shot of him dwarfing Guadaripa from behind in like full silhouette. And he's like, "Curse you, Guadaripa!" And he basically scares him off the mountain by just screaming at him.
And almost fucking kills him.
On his way down, Guadaripa shoots him, and Rodriguez catches the bullets in his hand.
I've seen a lot of like dumb things happen where they catch the bullets. But like,
this one is like,
is that like Rodriguez's hand is still bleeding from it, which is cool.
Like, yeah, his hand actually got shot. It's not like they caught it with like in their fingers, right? He just swiped his hand to block the bullets. It's real dumb but awesome. But before he could deliver the final punch that probably would have pulverized the old crippled Guadaripa, Viu punches him instead, only bruising the guy, and he runs off. And he's like, "Rodriguez, you stopped fighting 20 years ago. You can't just become a killer again." And, you know, Shonen talk no jutsu.
Shonen talk no jutsu.
And then we get peaks. Sorry.
I like where View punches Guadalajara instead, and Khalees is holding Rodriguez back.
Yeah.
I like that he just intercepts the punch.
Yeah.
Steals his punch from him.
Because I would have killed the man. He's sick.
So they take a break, to go back to camp, and we get different shots in different states of our other characters that are heading towards the same point for Gunblaze West. And these characters are really cool.
And even more ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So this is both the best and the worst part of the manga, in my opinion. Is
Yeah.
this last arc.
Because they crank up the stupidity a lot.
It gets very ridiculous.
It gets exponentially ridiculous.
Wait, which part?
The
This-
final arc.
Where
Oh. Did you mean? Can I say it?
Yeah. Wait, right after we're talking about right now, right after Rodriguez got his punch stopped from pulverizing Guado Reaper.
Yes.
And they start showing off the new characters that are going to
Yes.
show up.
Yes. It's so stupid. Oh, dude, I like this arc though. And this is where the art style kind of changes too. It's more I don't.
The
wanna say,
lines
like,
are very
dull.
less bold.
Yeah, it's more. It's not bold. It's dull. It's kind of like flushed.
He
Ish.
does this thing where because there's so many like characters at one time, each one takes up like less of the screen, to the point where like even their lines, like the line work and the shading on them is like brought down to 0.
Yeah.
and
Which,
basically,
it's alright, I guess.
They get set up
Rodriguez.
to leave the caravan, but Rodriguez hands over a gift.
yeah,
And it's another.
to Khalees, he gives her a knife
knife.
with the Gunblaze West symbol on it, and she joins the gang, and they leave to go to Fort Smith.
Yay! The trio has gone.
Fort
Fortnite.
Smith, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And so they actually do, unlike some other shonen that forget their own story that they set up, they actually do call back to mentioning when the judge here was going nuts with the hangings of outlaws. So there's a gallows right in the center of town that's like a tourist attraction.
And this next part is pretty funny.
So they Will's trying to talk smart stuff, like plan out their next move, and View and Korisu just ignore him. Be like, we're going to get some coffee in the saloon. See ya. And this saloon is like rough and tumble. All the outlaws
It's
are
the
kinda,
salty spittoon.
Yeah. And there's like, hey, can we get 3 coffees? And she wants one with milk. And of course, all the outlaws laugh. Haha, you want milk in your coffee, girl?
This isn't a dope saloon. We drink our coffee black.
Stupid women.
And then the
Yeah,
coolest, and then the
stupid kids and
coolest
women.
guy comes in.
So yeah, as VU is like starting to get heated, the coolest motherfucker in town strolls up.
With
GG.
he has fire on his hat.
On his
and,
hat and on his duster leggings,
yeah.
like those chaps. Those are called like, and his
Yeah.
gloves. Oh my
Yeah.
god! He's like, "Hey, bartender, give me." And this guy like speaks McCree to me.
And he's like,
Voice.
give me something to drink. I
A
want
glass of milk. And they all start laughing. He's like, "Who this guy? Didn't you hear me? Milk. I said, give me some milk." He's like, "Hey, young gun, don't get so worked up. Save your energy for the 1st of July."
But
Oh.
sticking up for a lady. I like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
And then he pours over his glass of milk into her coffee.
He's like, JJ's special
Special
milk
milk."
coffee.
He's so great. I love him so much.
Yeah, he basically only did that to flirt with Khalees.
Just
And
to be a
everyone's
cool
like,
guy.
wow, are you are you into kids? And he's like, nah, be. Oh yeah, no, we have to put this part into the.
Oh yeah. Hold on, wait.
too.
That doesn't come up just yet. So after pouring the coffee into her milk, everyone's like, "Huh, what a punk." The train rolls up that we saw earlier with this lord guy and a butler, and he steps out, and he's this dude in like full fucking Roman gladiatorial armor with a cape,
So
and has like,
this
"I'm a
is
bit
where
thirsty."
this
Where's
is
the
where
nearest
actual
saloon?
best girl comes in.
Knights versus cowboys.
And so, he's like, "Me? Who am I?" They call me JJ. For reasons I can't tell you my name, but do you want to hear it? And being the
You want
dumb
to
prick
know?
that he is, VU is like, "What's the difference?" He's like, No. I want you to hear it, really."
I want you to want to know what my name is.
Yeah, he's like a child.
He never actually tells
Yeah.
him.
We only find out later in like a mangaka thing that he's based on Jesse James.
Spoilers.
Oh,
not spoiler.
well, that's not really. It's like we'll talk about that in the like section, I guess. But any case,
Tidbit.
so the outlaw stroll, but get racist for a second. And now I don't really get hurt by
That
that.
they-
It's just funny that they just bust out the word. Do you like Orientals that much? or are you just a pervert with a Lolita complex?
Which-
Really out of nowhere.
That phrase would not exist in this time period.
It was
Not at
very
all.
Out of,
Especially not to these people, which is the funniest thing.
That's why it's like so out of place, because these people would have no clue.
Are you one of them Lolita lacquer?
But thanks to this accusation, we get one of the best responses in the entire manga, where it's just a deadpan shot of JJ, and then the biggest shit-eating grin ever. And you haven't been with women too much, have you?
It's so good.
And he's like, when it comes to beautiful women, race don't matter. And he's like, in 5 years, this girl will be up top class.
you gotta start now.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? Like, despite what he says, he doesn't actually really creep on her too hard.
He's just being a gentleman.
Or as much. I don't think they really interact after that.
Yeah.
No,
And then
not at all.
his two like people over the table are like, he's such a loser, but he's our loser. And there's a really cool hot girl at the table that we don't ever get to fucking meet. It's just an axe. And we find out nothing about her.
Get wrecked, loser.
Shut up! I like her.
You don't even
It's
know her.
cool.
You don't even know the kid.
Anyway, after this whole milk fiasco, all the other outlaws draw their guns on our group and JJ.
But then,
Yeah, so they go to fire, but the big guy in the armor walked in between them, so all the shots hit him, but none of the shots hurt him because
Yeah.
he has armor.
His armor is so thick.
his armor's so
can't be pierced.
badass.
He says
Big chunk.
he says it's 5 inches thick, his armor, which is
Yeah,
impossible.
which is
not just,
insane.
no, hold on. Not just 5 inches thick, it's 15 inches thick, because the butler goes, the Baron's armor is 3 laminated layers of special alloy, 5 inches thick.
Oh my god, I didn't know
Which-
that part.
Which
Yeah,
is
it's so
impossible.
No, it's
you can't
the
even
best.
walk.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it is 5 inches thick in total, but the way they say it almost
Yeah.
seems like he's wearing 3 individual 5-inch layers.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. And what's great is whenever you see his head under the shadow, he looks like a centurion. Like, he has this huge-ass Roman nose and big lips. And, of course, what does he order at the bar? Milk.
So this calls back to probably one of the best touches I think of this series is that chapter's name is just milk.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Milk is extremely nutritious.
It's how you get big and strong like me.
And the reason he tried to diffuse the situation is like, if you guys want to fight, wait for 3 days and save your energy for then. And the hole in the wall that he busts through, the gang escapes through with Jesse James and his gang. But this
So
isn't
they
the
just
last
kinda-
Saloon has to offer.
Oh
We
yeah,
see
because then
another
they show the
peek.
weirdo in the corner.
Yeah.
Who is the third guy that we saw introduced in the sneak peek with an eye patch looking like a bear.
Doctor clap.
And he basically
But-
just kills everybody in the saloon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he just
while
kills
he's
them all.
busy doing that, we get a small little exposition scene where our main party shacks up with JJ and his gang in their hotel in exchange for exchanging their information about Gunblaze West with each other. And then it
Yes.
cuts back really quickly to show that I don't need anyone else. The only one who's gonna reach Gunblaze West is me, Sarge Thunderarm, and that's the guy.
Sarge
Thunderarm,
Thunderarm
not
is
Thunderclap.
such a good name.
Which
So while they're at their hotel, we get a lot of cool info where they dump a pile of these relics with Gunblazed West symbols on them. And it turns out that even though we don't see it visually, that the colors of the mark change every 0 year to represent different seasons of this competition or this Gunblazed West thing happening.
yeah, so it's not a rare thing. There's dozens of these guns. It's not special.
You just need the right
And-
color.
Yeah,
Right, you need the right
It's
color
the
for that year. Like the golden, it's like the golden ticket.
ticket.
And so then they have another scene of them running to the meetup point where Marcus, where
Rest in
JJ
peace.
kind of takes on like a Marcus role for a second, where he runs with VU to get there first, and everyone else is like, it's weird. It's really wearisome to have stupid companions. And he's like, well, you're better off. He's our leader.
So
But then we
they
get
get
the,
to the
meeting
ghost
point.
town.
Yes, which is another ghost town.
And up on the like mountain overshadowing it during like daybreak, we see, what was it, Armor Baron?
Yes, the Armor Baron.
The Armor Baron, and he's like, I am the guide to Gunblaze West. A decade ago, I got there and they appointed me the next guide or some dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
And he's
And
like,
then my
Gunblaze
trial
West.
for you
yeah.
is this, and like a whole Deus Volt army shows up behind him. He's like, these are my men, I've clad them in armor, you have to
And
beat
they're
them
the
to get...
Armor Army!
Yeah, the armor army!
It's just knights. They're just knights. They fight
Shut up.
cowboys.
It's the
No,
Armor Army.
It's the
No,
armor
it's
army.
the Armor Army. They're not just knights.
They don't
So,
use guns either. So
basically,
they use swords.
Every Armor Army guy has one of the items with the new Gunblaze symbol on them, so you have to beat one of them to get the symbol.
And that'll be your ticket.
Yeah.
And within like seconds, all of the generic outlaws are weeded out because they're too evil or weak or cheap. Because
And-
their guns can't penetrate the armor and they just get
And-
scared off.
And so Will tries to say that we should do this smart and like
Do 3-on-1.
do 3-on-1 and get all of us a thing. And View's like, that's stupid.
That's
That's
cowardly.
a coward tactic.
Yeah.
He wants to fight the armor baron.
Yeah.
himself,
who doesn't?
'cause He wants to be the strongest, and that's
Yeah.
his whole thing.
He wants the strong.
Yeah. So View goes
Fights the
to
strong.
he wants to go fight the big guy, the Armor Baron. So he goes to do that. Will gets like while they're talking, Will gets like shackled and taken by one of the other armor guys. So he goes to fight that guy 1-on-1, and then
Khalees just
Khalees-
fights a dude.
yeah, she goes find someone to also fight 1-on-1.
Which she
And-
kind of just destroys.
Yeah, she
But
destroys
that's not
him.
really shown, yeah.
We don't see that till like way later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because before Viu can make his way to the Armor Baron, someone
Sorry,
else makes his way there first.
Or lightning arm.
Sarge
Sarge
Thunderarm
Thunderarm.
Thunder arm.
Clap.
He shows up first.
with like an almost dead Armor Army guy, like begging for help from the Armor Baron.
Like, you should have just let me here honestly. Then I wouldn't have had to kill you. And then he
And-
kills him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So
his backstory. Yeah, go ahead, drop
first,
it.
his arm
Oh,
is
yeah.
some technologically super advanced thing that somehow is around in the 1800s.
In
Of
the
course.
Civil War,
They
it's the
try to
government.
make it look period fitting, quote unquote.
They
'cause
do
it's
not.
a secret government weapon
That's
with
a-
all the tubes and shit.
basically his whole left arm is this robotic huge thing with big claws, and like he has a backpack with tubes coming out of his arm and into the backpack and stuff.
He looks like the Bionic Commando.
Yeah. And apparently his history is that he was like a Civil War hero that fought for 3 days and nights without sleeping. But
And
because
killed, like
he was
100,000 dudes.
Yeah.
yes, but because he was too brutal, they never actually made him a hero, and his nickname was Thunderarm.
And he was hit with a cannon and his entire left side was like wiped by the cannon, so he just got it replaced.
They super soldiered him.
Yeah,
into,
he's
like,
America's first super
The
soldier.
It's so dumb.
And he's here on the president's orders because
Yeah,
the
the
pre-
Which is, I
president
thought also was strange.
defied Gunblaze
it's
West.
hilarious.
America seeks homogeny over the world. We cannot allow any areas within our own boundaries to remain unexplored and obscure. You are to ascertain or not whether it truly exists and deal with it in an expedient manner.
Which makes sense because America wants to conquer. You know,
This is
North
Manifest
America.
Destiny.
Yeah.
This is just Gunblaze, man.
They haven't found Seattle yet, but that's
No.
that's Gunblaze West.
Yeah, they start fighting. His first two attacks, the Armor Baron just fucking
And
tanks.
it's a flamethrower. He uses his arm turns into a flamethrower.
Which I think is inappropriate.
Which has a really cool shot of the Armor Baron on fire, but then he just fucking does a cape flip and disperses it.
This is just Batman versus, like, the Terminator.
But when the Armor Baron goes to punch Thunderarm grabs it with his Thunderarm, and then gets a little taser comes out of his palm, like his Thunder Palm, and it just
The Thunder Palm.
it tases him. And since he's in armor, he he's
He's
susceptible
beat to electric
it.
damage.
Uh,
It's like Dark Souls.
So he's fucked for a little bit, but then View comes up and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And the
that
Thunder,
distraction
yeah,
is enough.
Thunder Arm, he's like, wait, what? Who? A kid? What are you doing? And then Armor Baron just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
It's really
It gives Armor Baron enough time to recover and be like, hey, who the hell are you?
Oh, and then we get...
But this is the best part.
This is the best part. What is it called?
Oh yeah. My armor. This isn't even the full effect of my armor.
So,
Allow me
so
to
the whole
show you.
point of the armor is ridiculous because it's not just armor. It's a giant bullet, basically.
Yes.
It turns him into a giant bullet, and it's called Siegfried.
Yeah, so he just has a jetpack on the back of the armor underneath the cape that just launches him at high speed, so he just becomes a human bullet.
No, it's you just witnessed the power of his gun sack.
Yes!
It's hilarious.
It's pretty good.
So as he's getting charged at, Thunder Arm Sarge tries to shoot like a knee rocket at him, but it just bounces off, and he's doing the whole Juggernaut human train thing, and he impacts him. But Sarge's last act is to shoot up a signal flare to have the army, come help him out.
Yeah.
And
Which
Armor
gets
Baron's like, you scum. They won't be able. You're just a weak, pitiful human being. Isn't it obvious? You just witnessed the power of his gun sack. And
So-
he was like, what the fuck did he just do?
Armor
He
Baron
basically
then
says,
just
like-
proceeds to defeat the entire United States Army.
By
By
jumping
becoming
in the
like
air.
Superman Hulk.
He jumps in the air and then pounds on the ground, killing everybody.
yeah.
And there's a shot of him bouncing around and bodies flying everywhere, and then him lifting a horse in shadow and like just like looking like a fucking giant terrorizing the army.
That is such a funny
It's so
shot.
good.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat for us to show later. But like, look at this shit. Just him like holding up a horse, like ah. So by the time he's done, there's literally a mountain of corpses that he picks up Armor Sarge by his shirt with his broken arm and leg. So he's like half like decapitated by his limbs. He's like, see, they have nothing to do with Gunblaze West. That's why I went easy on them.
He says,
Yeah, they're not. It's
Go-
not worthy enough to
go
be,
back and tell
to
the
go
president that if he wants to know about Gunblaze West, come out and see it for himself.
And you're disqualified. And he punches Sarge one last time, and that finishes him. So after seeing that, he was like, yeah, I want to fucking fight you.
So View fights Armor Baron after he defeats the entire United States Army.
And Armor Baron's like, hey, if you get disqualified, cool, try again next year. But if you might get disabled, well, that's just fate.
Wouldn't it be like 10 years?
It's every 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every 10
But
years.
still, you know, considering what he just did, you're probably not going to be fighting for the rest of your life.
Yeah. But
You're
it's,
probably
despite how
dead.
stupid it is, it's actually somewhat still honorable. Because he takes on his challenge, and he takes View on as a serious opponent. Even though, yeah, obviously View is just a 14-year-old, but that View wants to be seen as a real challenger. So Armor Baron, like, accepts his challenge.
Yes,
And-
it's a respectable fight.
And from this point on, get used to hearing the word gun sack a lot.
And also the return of Concentration 1.
Oh, dude, the fight was
So-
pretty good though.
The fight's fucking awesome, despite...
So-
Here's a quote real quick. Here's just a quote from the fight. If he activates his gun sack, you'll be disabled in a mere 0.1 seconds.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. He has a butler that's with him.
Yeah.
And the
basically like his ammo boy.
just narrates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first punch that Armor Baron seriously throws, View dodges it, but the shockwave fucking rips apart a house like miles away.
And he's like, whoa, you're not holding back, are you?
View's sleeve like shreds and like a little cut opens up.
his rational
like-
thought is like, oh yeah, I want to still fight this.
I get
Yeah.
it now. That guy isn't pulling any punches. It feels good.
And so Armor Baron's like, why are you still fighting me? And you just
View-
answers with, you're gonna have to beat me to find out.
Which is so great. Oh no, wait, hold on. So View's like, that wasn't the extent of your strength, was it? You looked much stronger earlier when you defeated that mechanical man in the cavalry. And then the butler's like, wait a second, surely this young man isn't thinking of challenging Lord Baron's invincible gun sack.
It's too strong.
So,
Zach.
yeah, and that's when Vyu's like, yeah, you'll know the answer why I want to fight you from the result of our fight. So,
Which
and
doesn't
yeah,
make any sense because I don't think he finds out at all.
So there's
But we already know.
there's a button on the armor baron's belt where if he presses it, it activates his gun sack.
Yeah.
So he presses it, and he gets shot forward towards View, and
With
View
his gun
uses,
sack.
Yeah, View uses concentration 1.
there's a
and-
countdown timer in the corner, like a digital readout,
yeah, so
like
you
a
can-
shot clock, so you can count the seconds. At least, even though it's a dumb power.
Yeah, it's the seconds that he's in concentration 1 mode. You know what I mean?
We at least get some really cool inverse shots.
Yeah.
And View actually does something really smart here with this first attack in concentration 1.
Yeah, he's able to dodge the armor baron, but like do a flip over him, grab his cape from behind, and then shoot behind his head. Because he's
Into,
like,
the nape of his neck.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
sure the armor will stop the bullet, but you're gonna feel the impact, and that's a very
Attack on
susceptible.
Titan him, yeah.
Yeah.
And since it's the base of his skull, it'll really rattle him up.
And it did. He's like, okay, now I'm actually just gonna.
So yeah, he has to like,
And
he
he-
uses his cape to toss View off.
And he notices that View used concentration 1.
He's
So
like,
yes.
it's a shame I'm going to have
And he
to
name drops the Western Phantom as well. So he knows Rodriguez.
Well, of course. He
Or
does.
at least knows about him.
And then he pushes his belt button again for his gun sack.
And the chapter ends, but picks right back up with Will's fight that happened off screen. And he won by retreating into a coal mine.
He essentially just drowns the guy he's fighting against and is like, I'll let you go if you give me the thing.
Because the
He
armor's
can't get
weighing
up
him
because
down.
it's too
and-
heavy.
The armor's too heavy.
Which is pretty smart.
Yeah, he's like
Oh, yeah.
fishing, but for the armor guy.
That's Will's whole thing, is that he's smart.
Work
My
smarter,
rope
not
isn't my
harder.
only weapon. The knowledge
knowledge
while
is-
waiting for 10 years is also my weapon.
Which doesn't make any sense because he just ran into it. Like, you don't study that.
Well, he knew that. I forget exactly what it is, but he was like, I know there's going to be this like.
A coal mine would have subterranean water welling up in it.
Yeah, so he ran
It's
there.
abandoned.
He
Okay.
lured him to the thing to do this move with his
to
big
do
brain.
to do this water move.
And we
Uh,
come back to Korisu after that.
Who just wins
Kills
the
a guy.
fight.
Yeah, she
Who
just
just
wins.
wins. Because she was putting knives through armor joints.
Yeah,
she
she's
just
so
does
high
the
precision.
win attack.
It's called armored swordsmanship. It's a Japanese technique developed to fight heavily armored opponents. Like, what?
It doesn't make sense. She's
Yes,
just really
it does,
good at
shut
throwing
up.
knives and it hits
No.
the guy.
No, it's a samurai technique because she's a samurai.
Yeah, because she's Japanese.
And then it cuts to JJ killing a bunch of people. Like he just
He's
He
like,
killed 100, he said.
yeah.
because his
You're like,
like,
no,
oh,
it's
yeah.
actually 30, because that's how many rounds you had. Because it reveals that his rounds are, like, special drill rounds.
then go
Drill
through armor.
lock.
Yeah,
And
drill
we
lock.
also find out that,
Drill
as
lock.
cool as they are, and we never get to see them fight, his girl partner has, like, a fucking huge fire axe, and his guy partner just throws grenades.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's how they fought. Oh, no, sorry. It's a war axe rifle.
Of course it's a rifle. Everything's
yeah.
a gun.
He calls them he calls his bullets drill lock. But any case, he's like, yeah, I beat 100 guys. And they're like, no way. You have a 6-shooter and you reloaded 4 times, so that's 30. Keep a straight count, loser.
Okay.
But then they all have an eye flash, like, whenever there has a dramatic look at each other, like, wait a second, View!
And so they
Gotta
go
find
up to view in like just in rubble.
Yeah, like, they get up to the top of the mountain where the fight's happening, or at the base of the mountain, and it's just a giant rubble crater with the armor baron staring at it menacing, and you're like, oh.
And they're
He's up-
like,
and
oh,
the butler's
he
like,
might be
oh
dead.
yes, he's under that pile of rubble. I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen.
He's been
He might be dead. And then, it's like, if he's dead, then how come your master hasn't let down his combat stance?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, you lunkhead, after all that big talk, what the heck's the matter? And she's like, come on.
Yeah, they're
What's
just
funny,
shit
though,
talking.
is they do shit talk him, and Corey says, like, oh, he might be already dead. And she goes, Namu, and she starts doing a
Trying to
Buddhist
Buddha.
prayer for him. And then, yeah, that's when JJ's like, yeah, for an opponent who can't move, your master hasn't relaxed his combat stance. And then View, of course, pops out of the rubble after revealing that he jumped off of the armor baron to steady himself and cushion the impact with his superhuman leg strength.
But he also shot mid-air to steady himself while he was flying.
Yeah. So, of course, View pops up from the rubble and he's like, hey, Will, shut up, you're the lunkhead. He's like, hey, Khalees, don't go killing me off. And
then he finishes the fight against Armor Baron
by shooting
with a cool technique, with shooting his button.
He shoots the button.
His gun belt.
Yeah, he waits for Armor Baron to reach full speed with his fist weapons equipped, because he knows if he shoots close enough to the middle that it'll shoot straight through it and through Armor Baron's midsection. And it ends with like a final, like much like how the first conflict of the story began, where we don't see the exact outcome, we just see the aftermath right after the clash of Vyu's gun, aka Marcus's gun that was passed down, getting broken. And then he wakes up and they're like, well, it was kind of like a draw, but Armor Baron insisted that he lost.
Because, like, he shot through the armor.
What's cool is he gets a new pistol, which is his pistol for winning the fight, and the symbol
Got a knife on it.
Yeah, it's a snub nose with a bayonet, and the symbol's rainbow colored this time.
Gig.
Because, you know, they were colored before, and we can tell because it's a black and white manga.
Yeah. It looked exactly the same, but...
So, funnily enough, we also, the Armor Baron announces the winners, including 6 people we never meet and never will. To include a big Samoan-looking guy with a spiked baseball bat, Wintry Rookie Kid, Cody Legacy, C.W. Nicholson, Dr. Ge, and Devil I.K. And we'll never see those people again, but they are also the other people who won.
Dr. Ge's 108 years old.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's crazy.
And he still has.
We find out that JJ's partners are Jim Younger and Myra Bell Shirley, by the way.
Which are essentially all 3 of them are based off actual famous gunslingers.
So Armor Baron is like, hey, congrats, you guys won, and we'll go to the next step. And they're like, wait, we're not going straight to Gunblaze West? He's like, that's correct. You must complete several missions. And he was like, yeah, give me the next mission right now. And he's like, I'd like to do that, but the next guide is here.
The Native American with the giant
Buffalo Hunter and his beloved mount, Super Wild!
Yeah!
And it's literally a buffalo with a giant cross scar that is actually like the size of a mountain. Like, no shit. Like, it is actually massive.
Super Wild is so good.
And the first thing Buffalo Hunter notices is, what happened to you, my strong friend? And then he sees View and is like, you're the next strong.
You're the next strong.
And View's like, I want to fight him.
I want to fight him. And then JJ's like, hey, you're cool. You're number 1 since you won against Armor Baron until the next mission.
So,
But that is, and they kind of ride off into the Aurora Borealis of the night in the desert, getting ready for the next mission.
Aurora Borealis.
The series is not over without one more stinger.
Yes. So View leaves his broken old gun, Marcus's gun.
Marcus's gun broke.
Armor Baron. And is like, I think there's someone who should be following us, or something along those lines. And he leaves the gun, like, in the ground with a note attached to it. And
it's just the gun in its pieces with the barrel buried in the ground and the map with its 2 pieces laying there. And then we get a reiteration of the first line that introduces Gunblaze West to us, which is cool, but with a different, like, picture set where it shows us, like, the foresty mountains of the, like, Washington. But then
stadium.
It fucking shows this Roman Coliseum in the middle of the mountain.
It would have been a tournament arc if it was.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And after showing us what could have been, we see one last thing.
Yeah, because standing over the gun that View left back in town.
And on the back of the map piece, that's where the note is.
Yeah, so he did leave a note.
It was on the back of the corner of the map that he left.
Probably not the useless map, the useful one.
Yes, the useful one. Waiting for
saying-
you at the
yeah.
place we dreamt of, VU Banas. And it's Marcus, who's still alive.
Yeah, baby, he doesn't die.
And the last words of the manga are "Okay, friend."
Because he's friend.
Yeah, Marcus is cool. I'm glad he didn't die.
So he would have came back.
Marcus was my favorite
And-
character.
God, that took a while, but that's the plot. That
Yeah.
was longer than our summary of Zombie Powder for sure. But who
Yeah,
cares?
because it was
great.
also more interesting.
Yeah, really, it's so great.
All right, so
So,
let's get to
Likes
talking
and
about.
dislikes real quick.
Phil, since you're the guest, let's start with you.
I liked probably the pacing of the whole thing. It was really ridiculous, like going to the chapters. But it was fun, and it kept adding more fun things, which I enjoyed because there was not much filler, which I liked. I liked the animation. The art's really good. I gotta say.
It didn't have time for filler.
Yeah.
It didn't have time for filler. You're right.
But
It did not.
You know what it is though? It didn't even try though, so that's even like it didn't even attempt to waste time. It just
Yeah.
kept it going.
The characters, some of them were good.
Some of them are Will.
Some of them are Will. Yeah. Rodriguez is probably my favorite character.
Oh yeah, when the characters are strong, they're really strong.
Yeah.
Especially Rodriguez, who's really, really strong.
Insanely strong. I don't know. He could probably beat them all like instantly.
But he
judging by
doesn't
what we
want
saw.
to.
No, yeah, he's past that. He's better now. No more killing.
For a gunslinger, Rodriguez never used a gun.
Because
Yeah.
he doesn't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
just strong fists. The fight scenes were always fun. I don't know. I liked it. I think it could have been a little better, just a little bit in the writing, because it was kind of predictable when you read
Yeah.
it. It was a little bit predictable, except for his armor, his gun. What is it?
The gun sack.
sack.
The gun sack. I did not see that coming at all.
Well,
That
there's
didn't
a
make
reason
any
for
sense.
that. Is because you're a mortal man.
Yeah.
This western turned into a sci-fi.
It really
Yeah.
did really quick.
It turned into Wild Wild West really hard.
And then knights versus cowboys, and then knights versus cowboys who are also kind of cyborgs.
Yeah, and then knights versus cyborgs.
Now there's Indians, but we don't get the Native Americans because it's over.
And
So
then
we don't
Homer
even
shows
know.
up.
Yeah. What did you guys like?
My favorite part about the whole thing, I think, was the first arc with Marcus. I think it was very strong start and got me very
It was a good
invested.
start.
Will had a really cool introduction, and then just dropped off from the face of the planet, which sucked.
Yeah.
Which
Which does kind of suck.
He's just there in orbit until they need him to like yell at View.
I didn't like the Khalees arc at all, other than the Rodriguez backstory. I think that was really good, but it was just the villain was super boring, or the villains were super boring. The fight scenes weren't that good. And
You don't like the twins?
no,
Uno and dos?
not at all. Not the slightest. They have no interest. Like, there's a man sent
But
from the
ask them, they
president,
look
and
the
then
same.
yeah, they look the same.
No.
That's
One
so
had a one and one had a
interesting.
two. You have to understand, they're very different.
One is twice as much as the other.
I feel like that middle arc might have killed the whole manga. Like, that... I'm sure there was a lot of other reasons why it had to be canceled, but I think, for me, that arc just really just wasn't good.
Oh yeah, did we
and-
ever discuss why it was canceled? Just
It says that
or
on
was
the
it
last
typical
page.
loss of
So
of
he
popularity?
sort of discusses it, but I think it was like due to a loss of popularity, and also I think it might have been attributed to the fact that he seemed to have been going through like a real bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
while
he
writing
describes
it.
Yeah.
like he was in the worst time. It was like it was so bad. I couldn't even so rough, and then he couldn't do it or something.
Yeah, usually we try to drop the reason it's cut in the beginning, but like since we assumed it was typical, like, loss of popularity, we didn't feel a need to highlight it. But
yeah, it was kind of just like, I don't think he was really in the mood for something serialized.
Yeah.
At the time,
And he just submitted this like on a whim without like a.
and it somehow worked.
And they're
he
like,
said.
oh, "Yep, you're starting here," and he's like, "What?"
Anyway.
I do really like that we got to see a lot of like the mangaka's thoughts, like his excerpts from his trip to America and his character things that were started to show up at the end of the chapters.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that
'cause
was
it
really
explains
cool.
The characters.
Yeah. And just to finish off my thing real quick, the
ahead,
last
sorry.
arc with the armor baron, extremely ridiculous, but extremely fun as well. Yeah, that's all I can really. It was Gunsack is all you need really.
Yeah, all you need is Gunsack.
I think I don't know how if this manga went on. I don't know how I'd feel with. It would probably just keep getting more ridiculous and more.
It would
ridiculous.
probably snowball.
And it probably wouldn't be as it would probably just get worse and worse. But it was very fun at the end. But yeah, that middle bit I just didn't enjoy it all.
To wrap up my summary, basically, there's some really awesome shots, like awesome panels, really stylish. Just like, even though it actually is kind of surprisingly violent, they still mask it to be just shonen enough in a very stylish way that doesn't like undercut the action. I when the characters hit for me, they hit really good, and honestly, it could have been more. Like, I would have loved to see the tournament arc that it was definitely going to become, but at the same time, it was wrapped up so nicely that it feels kind of rude to ask for more. Like, it ended on an open note, but not like Zombie Powder, where it was just kind of like, eh. It actually
Zombie
ended.
Powder's not ending.
Yeah.
It ended on an actual solid open note that was satisfying.
Yeah.
The Marcus thing, was very nice.
That was an awesome stinger. Very awesome. And I didn't really have any major dislikes. I can agree on most of the points that everyone else had made so far, to a point where, just little things here and there that could have been slightly brushed up on. But overall, pretty dang good.
So,
Pretty
I don't know about anyone else, but this is actually my second time reading through this. I had read it actually quite a while ago. I want to say like probably a decade ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
old ass.
Yeah, it's so, and like, so reading through it now, I still like it. I still really like it, but a lot more of the flaws are definitely evident to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Upon reading it as an adult instead of like Babu when I first read it.
Right.
A Babu.
A babu.
Babu.
What are some of these flaws?
That you saw, yeah.
Yeah, so the tone shift, like, between arcs
Does hit pretty hard.
Yeah, it does hit very hard because like I said, the emotional part still got me. Like, I still felt everything with like Marcus's supposed death and everything.
Which is surprising because I was not expecting the emotions to hit like as strongly as it did. I wasn't like crying, but necessarily like, I'm like, damn.
You're like,
This
wow.
is some rough stuff.
It's definitely a wham moment. And I still think it was, from the little I remembered when I first read it. When I first read this, actually, Will was my favorite character, and I didn't realize until rereading it that he literally does nothing.
How hard he got shafted.
Yeah. Because back then, like, Bobby Eddie really liked, like, the cool, edgy type, and Will was kind of the cooler, edgier one of the three of them. So I was like, yeah, Will's so cool. Now I'm like, man, Will fucking sucks. He doesn't do anything.
There's also a real quick bit. in the chapter 22 when they were introduced to the first challenge, the fight of the knights, and Will wanted to make a strategy. I don't know who said it, but they said stratagems.
Yeah, Will says stratagem, and then View's like, I don't know nothing about no stratagem. Yup.
So I started when I was reading it, I started giving them the accent of like a cowboy,
Yeah.
even though they look nothing like a cowboy. He kind of looks like Ed from Full Metal Alchemist in one of the panels.
Yeah.
Which was like
I
this is
think
a little off.
Marcus's writing definitely provoked a southern accent.
Yeah.
But
It had to be.
some of the others aren't as good as that. Anyway, Eddie, anything else about your?
What else can I really say? I mean, like, I like Khalees a lot because that's definitely an Eddie character. There's very little I can really talk about other than the fact that, like, now that I know how to be critical with things, this wasn't as good as when I first read it. But it was still really fun. And I did like the little historical nods to Jesse James and other, like, actual famous outlaws.
What I'm realizing is this basically is like so we have similar opinions on this than we do to Zombie Powder, but just better.
Yeah, this is just a more competently told Zombie Powder.
Pretty much, it's a much more competent Zombie Powder, is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I just wish they used the other characters more.
Well, Phil, maybe you should go back and read Zombie Powder,
See,
and you'll probably agree with us.
I think I want a spin-off with Armor Baron, Rodriguez, and who else? JJ. I want those three.
Yeah.
Same manga,
Yes,
but
that-
those three.
Just them three.
like the year, like the prior Gunblaze West outing.
A decade earlier.
That'd
That'd be
be
cool.
sick.
What a comic theme.
Just because they're just more interesting characters.
So to Pascone, well, more to what Pascone had said, how, like, it's really weird that there's, like, super soldiers and knights in this cowboy thing. And apparently a lot of the readers when this series came out agreed.
Huh.
Where did you see that?
But also, apparently, Khalees and Armor Baron were, like, the two most popular characters in the series.
Armor Baron is sick. He's a good character.
He's a funny character.
He's great.
He likes milk.
I assumed that, like, the manga wasn't doing well, so he just started adding more, like, ridiculous elements like the Armor Baron and stuff.
I mean, if you've
And
ever
it
gotten
surprisingly worked out.
If you've ever gotten deep into Rurouni Kenshin, he does this a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, Rurouni
too
Kenshin
far.
goes from, like, yeah, there's the bad guys, I'm gonna hit them with a sword, to guys that just walk faster than guns. and the best character in
Well,
the show.
guns can't walk.
Well, yeah,
Oh my god.
but they can blaze
Oh.
In the West.
to the west.
Thanks for watching. No. Okay.
That's it. Ended.
The best
Well, I mean-
character in Rurouni Kenshin gets a whole arc where he just punches dogs in a cave
Oh.
for like 5 episodes. It's sick.
We're almost at that point anyway, though, because I think all we
Yeah.
have left is our ratings
Yeah.
and would we recommend it before we sign.
So Phil, now, give us a rating and if you would recommend this to someone else or not.
A rating out of what, like 10?
10.
Yeah.
Out of a number and another number.
If it was my rating system, it would be out of 30. But
That's a stupid rating system.
it's me and Kevin have decided that's the best rating system.
Well, that's why it's the
But I'll
worst
use the
rating
10.
system, because it's between two idiots.
Hey man. But out of 10, I'd say it's like a 6. Like pushing a 6. And I would recommend someone reading this as a quick like thing to read because I read all of this in about an hour and a half. It was a very quick read for me. I don't know if anyone else read it pretty quickly, but I'd say I would recommend someone to read it if they wanted to just pass the time with something fun, because this is a fun manga. Like, it's a fun story. It's just about a cowboy who wants to just head west, and just a lot of shenanigans happen. And there's knights, and then you just get pulled in because there's knights and mechs, and it's kind of sick. It's good anime.
Yeah.
It could be a cool anime, I think. But
Yeah,
they'll
like
never
an
be
OVA for this would be cool.
It would be cool, but it'll never happen.
Yeah, I want to see the Gunsack animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want animated Gunsack.
I just want Gunsack the animation.
I wanted it to be animated by the guys who did One Piece the first season. Who are they? What studio did One Piece? Not One Piece. One Punch Man.
Production IG?
Yes.
No.
Was it Production IG?
I don't
No,
remember.
Bones.
No, it wasn't Bones.
Oh,
I don't
no.
think
It was Bones.
Oh, it was Bones. I lied to you.
Yeah,
It was
Bones did the
yeah.
first season.
Yeah, I want to see that animation for this. I think that would be pretty cool.
But I want it dubbed by 4Kids, like the first season of One Piece.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. I also agree. I want them to One Piece it up where like Will has like an Italian accent. and like Armor Baron speaks in like a thick German accent.
Yeah.
6 out of 10 is my final rating. Would I recommend to read? Yes.
4 out of 4 kids.
I would agree with the 6 out of 10. Some things bring it down, but it just had such a strong start. I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's the first arc's surprisingly really good, and it gets really fun at the end, but the middle I just don't like at all.
By the middle,
Yeah,
do you
it's a
mean
blade,
just Khaleesi's arc?
I mean, I guess the 12-barrel shotgun was fun too, and like beginning Will was cool, but later Will's not cool.
Will does nothing.
Yeah, it's just Khaleesi's arc that just brought me down, but I think I'd recommend it just because I liked the first arc surprisingly a lot, and you need to see the Gunsack.
I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Me personally, I just found a few more things in there that I enjoy a lot. And I think purely just on raw fun factor, if you were looking for a quick fun read, it makes it there for me. I mean, like many other people said, you know what it is it does well on both fronts when it's trying to be kind of serious and dramatic, like with the whole training thing between View and Marcus, and then like Marcus's dramatic last stand, to when it's being balls to the wall ridiculous with gun sacks and drill holds and everything. So both when it's being subdued and when it's going all out, it succeeds, but it's not like a masterpiece or anything. So, you know, I think 7 out of 10, it's a fun short read that I would recommend to people who are looking for that kind of thing. I don't think it would convert someone to liking the genre, or I wouldn't show it to someone outside of the genre, like who doesn't like that kind of stuff normally, because it doesn't break the trend that much. But to someone who likes it, definitely.
If you like cowboys.
So when I first read this, I would have given it like a solid 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Now,
Wow, yeah.
now as a grown adult, I would probably have to give it about 130,000 yen out of 200,000 yen, which roughly translates to about a 6.5.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Because it's enjoyable, like Jeremy said, it's enjoyable if you like that kind of thing, but it's a hard recommend if you don't like stupid dumb shit. And this is hella stupid dumb shit, and
Yeah.
only gets dumber.
Probably got so.
But
I like to see
also, Naifu waifu for laifu.
Oh god.
if you like.
Gunsack, baby.
Gunsack. Yeah, Gunsack for life,
So
actually.
we should just with this episode, this is end. I think we should just end this episode by chanting "Gun sack, gun sack,
sack,
gun
gun
sack,
gun
gun sack,
gun
gun
sack,
sack,
gun
gun sack." Good night, everybody.
sack.